I came up with this, it seemed like a really good idea. And then y'all were way too enthusiastic about it. Alarm bells. It's Leanne and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be picking my June TBR. Creaky chair is creaky. If I disappear from view, it's because my chair fell apart and I'm on the floor. As you all know, we have not had a TBR here since... what month comes after March? April. We mood read March, we had a very good structured TBR April, and then we mood read May. Because my life fell apart more in this video. And if I'm perfectly honest, I'm not yet quite ready to give up my mood reading ways. Right now, mood reading feels a little bit like a crutch. Like if everything else is crap in my life and I don't have a choice to make any of it better, at least I can choose which book I want to read. But that being said, after everything that went down in May, I only finished one book. And so I feel like something needs to change. There needs to be some kind of compromise to get us back on track. Because I am happiest when I am reading books. So to try and gain some of that structure without quite going all the way to stack it, which if you're new here, hi, hello, is the game that I usually play every month where I pick books off my shelves depending on whatever prompts I have and I read them in the order that I have stacked them, and if I skip them I have to unhaul them because obviously I didn't want to read it that badly in the first place. Maybe not quite as rigid as Stack It, but was a more reined in choice system than all of my shelves in my house. My library and the one in the hall and the one in my living room, stacked by my bed, the stack on my desk. And so what I've decided to do today is create a smaller pool of books that I'm allowed to choose from. Kind of like, you know, if I was one of those really organised people who keeps all of their unread books on a TBR trolley. Pointing to the place where my TBR trolley used to be before it broke, under the weight of all of my to be hauled in a video books. I'm thinking of a pool of maybe around about 10 books. 10 feels like a really manageable number. That was my dilemma. How do we actually make the pool of 10 books that I have to stick to? Because my first instinct was like, just go to my shelves and find books I'm excited for, but I had more than 10. Like significantly more than 10. And so I thought, let's play a game. And then I had to take a moment to go sit in a quiet corner because sometimes playing TBR games on this channel are just not go in my favour. And as always, my prompts for my hashtag Year of Renaissance come from you guys. You know, the places where I'm always like, we have such a lovely community of people, we're all so nice to each other. And then you destroy me. It's so mean. Oi! Usually I ask for actual prompts like the lines of your favourite song or a colour from a Pantone chart. But I know myself and my poor overwhelmed brain really well. And if I had really specific prompts to fill right now, I would just get caught in like a maze of indecision. And I would end up picking like 3 books for every prompt, which is not the goal. And so I thought to myself, I wonder if I could just get Instagram to choose for me, with, you know, me not having any input whatsoever. And so that's what we're gonna do. I put a little call out on Instagram for people who would like me to choose books based on their Instagram grids. And there were an overwhelming amount of you who really wanted me to do this. I'm assuming because you know that there are some things on your grids that I am not ever gonna want to read. And maybe we will do that video in the future where like your Instagram profiles choose my haul. But this time around what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through your Instagram grids and I am going to choose the first book that I know that I own unread in my house and I'm gonna put it on my list. And at the end of this we are hopefully gonna have 10 books which already exist in my house, which I'm already excited to read, that I can choose for the whole month of June. Or at least that's my plan. These videos do not always go according to my plan. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to choose somebody completely at random who wanted to participate. And we are going to go with Chloe at Let's Chat Paperbacks. So I can see from Chloe's currently reading that she's reading Hamnet right now. I really love Chloe's feed. I am loving all of the plants. Oh, it's very aesthetically pleasing, Chloe. I like it here. In fact, while we're here, let's just hit that follow back button. Yes, yes, more of this, please. Okay, so on a first skim here, just on the top couple of pictures, I'm not seeing anything that I haven't read and own. Let's have a closer look at Chloe's TBR card. Oh, Chloe, I see the silent patient. I wish to save you from this experience. Please do not read that. It's a terrible book. And there's lots on there that I have read, but nothing that I haven't read. Let's keep scrolling. Aha! Okay, so I see Master of Sorrows by Justin Call, and I do have that, and it is unread. Now this is both a good and a bad thing, because Master of Sorrows is actually a fairly gigantic fantasy book. In fact, let's just get it. Let's just prove to ourselves how many pages it is. It is 577 pages of the tiniest prose that I have ever seen in my entire life. Like Quaglance. Why is this so small? So the only things that I know about this one are that it includes a magical academy and some disability representation, and that it is going to be the start of a long villain origin story. Like, I think Justin Call has 7 books planned in this series, and there's only 2 out right now. Which, I'm not gonna lie, does make me a little bit nervous to start it, because cisgendered men in the fantasy genre don't have the best track record of finishing the series that they start. But that said, if Justin Call proves to be the exception and not the rule in this case, I could have a nice chunky ongoing series that I could like sink my teeth into. There we have it. There is the first of the 10 books for our pool to pick from for June. I will not be dragging the rest of them off my shelves unless they similarly have an objectionable length of content. Thank you very much, Chloe. Onwards. I have discovered that several of my friends have submitted their profile in full knowledge that we read very different kinds of books. This is not that kind of challenge. So out of my lovely, lovely friends, I am going to go for Olivia Savannah at Olivia's Catastrophe. I absolutely love her feed. It is so beautiful. She does lots of really creative things like this. Okay, let's look from the top, because I see a lot of book stacks. Nope, nothing in here that I own unread. Nothing in here that I own unread. Ooh. And nothing in here that I own unread. We are 3 for 3. Oh no! Olivia and I have like really weird reading tastes where our Venn diagram is very narrow, but in there are some very specific books that we both love. So I'm hoping that in one of these stacks I'm going to find something that I haven't read. Yeah. Okay, what about maybe not a stack? What about held books? Oh yay! Okay, so I see White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi. I own that and I haven't yet read it. Perfect. This one takes place in a creaky old creepy house, which we know that I love, high on the cliffs of Dover. In this house we have a father and a pair of twins who are left absolutely reeling after the twins' mother mysteriously died. But now that Lily has gone, some very strange things have started to happen, like apples growing on a tree in the dead of winter, rooms which otherwise looked familiar and now feel like strange mazes. And what one of the twins, Miranda, soon discovers is that this house is inhabited by generations of women, and that she is far from alone now that Lily is gone. Even the cover of this one is giving me the complete icks, but I'm very happy about it. Thank you, friend of mine. On to the next book. Let's choose another profile. Ooh, that could be interesting. Okay, so when I set up this question box, I told people that it was for picking my June TBR, but I did not tell them how I was going to be picking it, just that I was going to be using their Instagrams. And I knew that some of the people who were going to submit were not going to have Bookstagram profiles, and so in the back of my mind I had been kind of thinking to myself, right, well, will I choose a colour or an object for the cover? But one of my absolutely lovely small business friends, Amy Howard, has submitted her profile. So she is Amy Howard Art, and I am just absolutely blown away by her stuff. Would you please would you look at this? Look at the details. Look at that, guys. Her talent just blows me away. How dare you, Amy? Leave some talent for the rest of us. So let's have a look at what I see here. So we've got some flowers, some birds, some cats and cat eyes. Oh, we have a bear and butterflies. Butterflies are weirdly common on the covers of books. I don't know why. Okay, let's go and have a look at my shelves and see if I can find a book with butterflies, birds, bears, or, ooh, cat eyes. I found one. Initially, I was like drawn to my thriller shelves because I was like, I know there's butterflies in here somewhere. And there's surely going to be like eyes on some of the covers. But I couldn't find anything which just quite worked. Then somewhere in my fantasy section, I had a brainwave. And I went to my horror section because there's a strangely large amount of taxidermied things in my horror collection. I was like, maybe I could find me a taxidermied bird. I did not in fact find a taxidermied bird, however, just a dead one and a book with a feather on the spine. This is You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce, and it is a book that since I bought it, my friends will not shut up about. Anytime somebody is in my library, they're like, have you read that yet? Because it's really freaking good. And viewer, I have not read it yet. So it is going on the list. It is going in the pool. This one is about novelist Cassandra Tipp, who has twice gotten away with murder. Everybody knows that she did it. Even her family are convinced that she did it, but they can't prove it. And then one day Cassandra just up and vanishes, and all that is left behind is a letter. The thing is, the letter is not what everybody expected it to be. It's not a confession. It's actually two short stories all woven into one. Both of these stories are fantastical, magical realism, but which one of them has the actual truth? I don't know. Do you know? Have you read it? Don't tell me. If you have, I don't want any spoilers. I wish to know nothing. Thank you, Amy. I wish to own all of your stuff and put it all over my walls. Let's pick the next one before I follow through with the impulse to make myself bankrupt. Okay, next we are going to go with Dara at Paperback At It Again. I love that username, it's great. However, it does look like Dara reads a lot of literary fiction, and I'm seeing some Nikki French in there as well. Literary fiction and crime writers I'm not that much of a fan of at this present moment. So let's have a closer look through and see if there's anything in there that I own and haven't read. I actually own that Nikki French one, The Lying Room. That's my Patreon book club pick for this month because patrons want to watch me suffer. Becky Chambers, we love that, but I have read it. Ooh, oh my god, okay, that's made me really happy. We've got The Bass Rock by Evie, Wyld. Come to think of it, I don't actually know whether this is like the bass rock as in sea bass, or whether this is the bass rock as in bass guitar. I had never actually thought about that before, despite the fact that this book has been on my shelves for an embarrassingly long time. I say embarrassingly long because this book came out in 2020 and I bought it immediately because Evie Wyld is one of my favourite authors in the entire world. I am a little bit evangelical over all the birds singing. And I'm going to assume that it is actually the Bass Rock because according to the cover, the Bass Rock has stood in the Scottish Sea for centuries, overlooking everything that happens just off the shore. As far as I remember from the synopsis on this one, it is a split timeline, which is very normal for Evie Wyld's books. So I think we're in present day World War II and somewhere around the 16 or 1700s, I don't honestly remember. But it follows three different women who are at three sort of crossroads in their life. One of them I know is a witch who is trying to escape from being tried. One of them, the one in World War II, I think she is newly married and she's trying to navigate what freedom means after becoming married at that time. And then I don't honestly remember what the person in the present day is doing, but I kind of don't care. I don't even care that that is like a scrabbly bitty synopsis, and usually I would because I like to go into Evie Wyld's books completely blind. That is in fact how I went into All the Birds Singing all those years ago. I saw it in the tent at the Edinburgh Literary Festival. It looked good. I bought it. It was fabulous. So yes, I'm very happy with this suggestion. Thank you very much, Dara, for allowing me to pick it. Let us find our next profile. In fact, let's just bite the bullet and let's just do it. Let's go to my lovely friend Kirsty's Profile at Melbs Reads. For those of you who've been around for a little while, you will remember that Kirsty and I had a podcast for a couple of years called Death by the Books, wherein we read books where death happened. We both missed the podcast very, very much, but you know, pandemic times happened and our reading taste diverged a little bit and we put it on the back burner. Don't rule us out ever doing a version of that podcast again though, because two of us do like to talk and argue about books. When I told Kirsty that I was doing this, she was all manic laugh, because she knows that I'm going to find something on here that she has told me that I should have read like a really, really long time ago, and I haven't yet because she's horrible and always right. So Kirsty does a lot of these wonderful readers advisory posts. She is a librarian and she is very, very good at it, and they include like a lot of different takes on various themes. You will always find something to suit your taste on Kirsty's profile, but I think I'm going to stick to the actual books that she has posted the cover of on her main feed, because otherwise I'm basically going to find my Kindle graveyard in those readers advisory posts, let's be honest. Okay, so let's get started. Kirsty also reads like a ridiculous amount of books, like hundreds and hundreds of books in a year. So there's always going to be stuff that I haven't even heard of on her profile. However, oh my god, wait, that is, okay, so that's not quite... Alright, so this is hashtag murder funding, which I think is a sequel to hashtag murder trending, which I do have on my shelves. I think I'm taking it. I think I'm just going to go with that. I'm just going to go with that. I don't think it was actually Kirsty who told me about this book originally, but either way, it exists in my house and I am excited for it, so it is going on the list. Hashtag murder trending is set a little bit in the future, where some people wake up on an island. These people have committed crimes which we would normally have just like sentenced people and sent them to prison for, but instead in this new vaguely dystopian future we are instead watching a TV show which is like streamed live online, where these people get put on an island and murdered. And while it is clearly creepy dystopian, I also think that it's a little bit like tongue-in-cheek and it's a little bit funny. It's kind of a sarcastic take on our obsession with social media and watching reality shows. So I'm actually kind of excited for that. Wow. I was actually really scared for Kirsty's profile that it was just going to call me out completely, but I think I got out of that one vaguely unscathed. So thanks, Kirsty. I know that this choice is not going to have made you happy, but it made me happy. Okay, on to the next one, and I know exactly where I'm going for this one. I am going to go to my friend Sarah's Bookstagram. So Sarah's handle is Sarah's Reading Diary. I've talked about her a few times here. If you guys come to my Patreon streams, Sarah's pretty much always there giving awesome recommendations in the background. I absolutely love her feed. Just look at it. It does also help that my wonderful niece Eleanor is on there. Like that does make your profile far improved in my eyes, Sarah. One of the things that I think that Sarah is actually known for the most is her weird historical sex books, like this one. I mean, is that a pickle, a dragon, or a penis? So Sarah did say when she submitted her profile for this that I better pick one of those weird sex history books, but again, not buying for this video, so I'm just going to flip through and see if I can find something that I own. I bought that for Sarah, and that's probably one of my bookmarks in it too. So far only seeing read things or things that I don't have, or this one which is truly objectionable. Do not read this, it is a bad book. Oh, okay, so this one is actually one that Sarah got for me. This is the Convent Garden Ladies by Hallie Rubenhold. And technically this one is still kind of about weird sex history, right? Because it is about the Covent Garden ladies who were prostitutes working in London in the 1700s. They were regarded as the more expensive, higher class ladies to spend time with, and without their knowledge, a certain gentleman created a pamphlet saying what these women offered and where they could be located, and then published it. It went around all of the upper circles of London men, and it completely exposed these women and their way of working to the greater public in a way that had never been known before this pamphlet was published. And again, I think this is Hallie Rubenhold's way of bringing the story back to the women. Again, that was less painful than I thought it was going to be. I'm pleased about it. Okay, so we're going to pick the next one from Olivia's Profile. It is What the Dickinson. Love that username. None of my usernames have ever been punny in the slightest. I absolutely love the muted colours in these pictures. They're beautiful. Oh, I see a cat. Look, it's a kitty. Oh, it's a kitty with a moustache. Oh, I miss my kitty with a moustache. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these book stacks. Oh, I see 3 Hours by Rosamund Lupton. That is an amazing book. And I also see Royal Assassin by Rubenhold. I approve of both of these choices. I actually also really approve of these candlesticks. They are beautiful. Let's see. Oh, Stillhouse Lake. Mwah. I really need to reread Stillhouse Lake at some point. It's been a while. Let's see. Oh, okay. I found one. We have The Crooked Tree by Una Mannion. I have this one on my thriller shelves, although I think it's kind of like a psychological mystery, not necessarily a thriller, but we are going to go with that one. So A Crooked Tree is about a fateful night for 2 sisters in the 1980s. Driving home one night on quite a dark country road, these girls' mother gets completely overwhelmed, angry and frustrated, and she pulls over to the side of the road and tells Libby's little sister Ellen to just get out. Get out of the car. She doesn't want to see her anymore. Just leave. So she does. She gets out of the car. She stands on the hard shoulder. They shut the door and they drive off. The thing is, Libby and Ellen's mother just expects that Ellen is just going to walk home. But Ellen, of course, never makes it home. And Libby's entire life becomes very abruptly devoted to finding out what happened to her little sister. This is definitely another one that I'm excited to have in my TBR pool because again, it's creepy, it's mysterious, it's thrillery, it's definitely something that I can sink my teeth into. So that one is a very good possibility. Thank you so much, Ali, for your superb reading tastes. Okay, so 3 to go, and the next profile that I'm going to take a look at is Aoife's from Pretty Purple Polka Dots. Now, as you can see, Aoife reads quite a lot of contemporary fiction. There are a few thrillers in there, but there's a lot of contemporary, there's a lot of romance, and I don't know realistically how much we are going to have in common, because although I do read romance, I usually only read romance that has been directly recommended to me. So let's go back to the top and let's see, there's a book stack here. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm going to check it out right here. I see One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus, and although I do not have that book on my shelves, I do have a couple of other books by Karen M. McManus that I have not yet read. And I think I'm just going to do it. I think, yep. I think I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to choose one of those because I can tell from Aoife's feed, as beautiful as it is, that we are not going to have a lot of books in common there. I have The Cousins or You'll Be the Death of Me. One of them is about a group of kids who play hooky from school. They dog school, they skip school, I don't know, whatever region or dialect you want to choose. They are not at school when they should be at school. And they follow somebody in town and end up in this warehouse where they find a dead body. But I can't remember whether it's The Cousins or You'll Be the Death of Me. Maybe I should put both The Cousins and You'll Be the Death of Me on the list? No, I will look up at the end of this which one of those books it is, and I will put it here on the screen. This is the winner of the synopsis that Leanne can remember, and so this is the one that I am going to read. Thank you, Aoife. That was way more painless than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so second from last, we are going to look at the lovely Hallie from Hallie Dazed's Profile. I'm already seeing in the first 3 pictures chapters which, yes, Mrs. Potts and Hallie in some absolutely stunning dungarees. Like, can we take a moment for just this queen? Yes. So at first glance, Hallie and I do actually have quite a few crossover books that I can see here that we both loved. So like there's 1,000 Ships, there's Death on the Nile, I see A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So let's go further down. Red, oh, this is a huge table. Was this a reorganization that you did, girl? Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute and vaccinated. Cute and vaccinated. Double cute. Can I find anything on this table? Oh, okay, I see something hiding at the back of this table. Right here, I see The House of the Cerulean Sea. And I just need to bite the bullet on this book, let's be perfectly honest. Okay, Okay, I'm just gonna do it, Hallie. I'm gonna take that one. Thank you, girl, for forcing me to read something that I have been putting off because of the hype. So House on the Cerulean Sea was actually gifted to me by my lovely friend Victoria. When she gave it to me with like the tagline, "This is just a hug in a book." But as soon as I had this book in my hands, I started hearing about it everywhere. It became like a wildfire craze. Everybody on BookTube was reading it and I just went, no, not for me right now. So it's directly behind me on a shelf where I have not looked at it for some time. So as far as I'm aware, The House in the Cerulean Sea is kind of like X-Men meets like the Shonen Maguire Every Heart a Doorway series. It's about some kids who are in care who have developed some abilities, and I believe an older character who takes a bunch of them in the House in the Cerulean Sea. That might be incredibly vague or not entirely correct, but I'm worried that if I go and look at the actual synopsis, it will put me off again seeing everybody's reviews. So I think I'm just gonna stay on the safe side and call it good. You guys who have read this and loved it are totally going to be sitting there like, Leanne, that is not your usual standard of synopsis, and that is one of my favourite books. I am disappointed in you. And then finally, we are going to head over to my lovely friend Chloe's profile. Is this because she has very recently posted some absolute glamour shots of her rescue cat? Maybe. But it could also be because, you know, Chloe has quite good taste in books and I'm not actually that afraid of her choices. Oh my god, look at her! Look at my friend, is so cute. Okay, let's have a look at a couple of these stacks. That is just a Night Circus appreciation stack. Okay, Chloe, that's a nice idea, but it's not happening, my friend. Let's see, what else do we have? The ones that I have read. Ooh, okay, alright, I see one. I see Little Eyes by Samanta Schweblin, which I have talked about ad nauseum since I got it. I absolutely love the cover. This is the cover. It is stunningly disgusting. On the back there's this cute little creature, but like an evil version of it. And honestly, I really don't know, except for like ADHD distractibility, why I haven't read this book yet, because I am obsessed with the entire premise. Essentially, Little Eyes is set a little bit in the future and we have the technology to make these very lifelike little toys. But the thing that actually makes these toys lifelike is the fact that other people are piloting them. So some people pay for the toys to come into their house to interact with them and their children and their pets. And other people are paying for the ability to pilot and see out of the eyes of these little toys. It's like the grossest but best premise in the world, and I'm very excited for it. And again, it totally suits the reading mood that I'm in right now, which is like ominous, but also I don't really have to use my brain too much to figure out why it's ominous. I like that. That was a good final pick. I am sticking with that. We are taking it. Okay, so that's it. We have our pool of 10 books for June. Let's run back through them very quickly. Editing Leanne is going to absolutely hate me for this, but here we go. Also, I'm exposing myself with my handy bit of paper here. There was no way I was remembering all of those titles. So we have got Master of Sorrows, White is for Witching, You Let Me In, The Bass Rock or The Bass Rock, whatever. It's the rock in the sea. Hashtag Murder Trending, Covent Garden Ladies, A Crooked Tree, The Cousins or You'll Be the Death of Me, whichever one had that synopsis that I remembered, it's here. The House in the Cerulean Sea and Little Eyes. I'm actually not that mad about that selection. In fact, I kind of dig it. It's kind of all of the different kind of books that I like to read all in one place. Does it mean it's going to be easier for me to get through any of them in June? No. Does it mean my brain might malfunction and be like, well, why aren't you reading all of them in June? Possibly yes. Do I regret any of this? A little bit. But overall, I think I've enjoyed it. Thank you to all of my Instagram pals for being absolutely fabulous sports. If you would like to take part in any of these really random prompt gathering things that I do for my TBRs, you can follow me down here. As always, if you have read any of these books, please tell me which ones you liked and disliked, because opinions live here. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. I do ill thought out things like this to myself every month for your amusement, and if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up because it really does help my channel, and I will speak to all of you guys very soon. Bye! Honestly, the urge to just hide this one in case I start it and it's slow but I don't want to put it down and it's the only book that I read in June is quite high. I will instead just put it back on the shelf. I'll just put it back where it goes.